How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Science with some more homework help for Monday, October the 12th. So, this was your assignment today, 08 domain and range, word problems day 1. And when you click on it, it should look just like this. Okay, so these are some important notes that we're going to reference as we're working on 3 of these homework problems. There's 6 altogether. So, let me go ahead and share my iPad screen and we'll work these out together. All right, so on the left side, there's some information about continuous functions. On the right side is the discrete. Okay, and the most important thing is the difference in how their domain and range are written. All right, so let's go to the first one. I'll read it out loud. Hector's Service Club is raising money by wrapping presents in the mall. The function f of x equals 3x, always put a box around that equation if they give you one, represents the amount of money in dollars that the club will earn for wrapping X presents. On the first day, they plan on wrapping a maximum of 10 presents. Okay, that's important right there. I'm going to put a circle around that. Okay, a maximum of 10 presents. Then it says, what is the range for this day if all goes as planned? All right, that's very important right there. Usually the last sentence will always give you what they're looking for. And in this case, they're looking for range. So remember to write your little T-chart. Okay, Dr. X, Y. And since they're asking us for range starts with an R, which means we're looking for our Y values. Okay? And the way that we're going to do that, we're going to take a look at our equation. Let me go ahead and rewrite it nice and big because it looks small probably on your screen. F of X equals 3x. And remember, f of x is the same as y. So I'm just going to change that to y equals 3x. All right. Now the question that you have to ask yourself is, what type of relationship is this? A discrete or a continuous, right? Well, you want to find out what x represents. So if you take a look, I'm going to circle the letter x, and it represents presents, okay? Because they're wrapping presents. So let's go back up to these little notes. And right here it tells you if it's continuous, right here on the left, then it says that it can have parts and fractions. But let me use a blue highlighter. No, you know what? Let me use a green. Yeah. If it's discrete, that means it cannot have parts and fractions, okay? So basically discrete whole numbers, okay? Things that have to stay in whole numbers. So since we're talking about presents, guys, is that something that can be split up into decimals and fractions? Can you sell half of a present? No, right? Presents have to be in whole numbers. So that means we're going to write the word discrete here. Okay, this is a discrete function. And so now that we know it's discrete, let's take a look up here at how the range should look. It says it's all the possible y values for the range. And look, it's going to just be a list of numbers with commas. All right, so since we know it's going to be a list of numbers with commas, guess what? You can eliminate the first choice and the third choice. There is no inequalities. And then we're going to go ahead and graph this equation. Okay, so right here, we're going to graph on the calculator and check the table. All right, so everybody go ahead and go to CMS, and you're going to open up your calculator. Okay, I'm going to write the code right here. When you get to CMS, the passcode for the calculator is CALC, which is short for calculator. All right, passcode is CALC. So go to CMS, type that in, and when you get there, you should have something that looks like Start Test Now. And make sure that you click that calculator button up at the top. Okay? Here it is, right up here. That one right there. Okay. And then you want to go ahead and shrink this down so it doesn't take up your whole screen. Right. You just use that double-sided arrow over here on the left. And then now I can have a split screen where I've got my question and my calculator right on the side of it. So we're going to go ahead and graph this right here. Y equals 3x. You click y equals on the top left. It already has y equals, so we're just going to type 3x. 3, there's the letter x next to the green alpha button. Then you're going to push second graph, and here's our table. Now, once again, we said that the range is our y values, which means we're looking at these numbers over here on the right. And this is where that important information comes into play, where we said a maximum of 10 presents, okay? So here's 0 presents. You go all the way down till you get to 10 presents, and your highest number on that range is 30. So take a look at the only two answer choices we have left, right? This one goes from 0 to 30, and then this one goes from 0 to 10, right? That's our domain. We don't need that one. So the answer is the second choice, or you could say B. Two more problems that I'm going to help you guys with, okay? I'm going to go ahead and erase this so it doesn't look so busy, and we're going to do the second one together. All right. On this problem right here, we have Joe, who has an after-school job at a sporting goods store, and the amount that he gets paid, Y, according to the number of hours he works, X, can be modeled using a linear function. He gets paid $9.50 per hour, represented by Y equals 9.50x. There's our equation. Let's go ahead and put a box around that. Joe works a maximum of 9 hours per day. That's some more important info right there. Maximum of 9 hours per day. For 1 day of work, what is the domain of the function for this situation? Okay, there's the other word that gives us a clue to what they want. Domain. So when you write your little T-chart with Dr. XY, your domain starts with a D, which means that they want the X values on this question. Okay, now we're going to ask ourselves, if this is our equation, right, Y equals 9.50x, I'm going to rewrite that nice and big. Y equals 9.50x. What type of function is this? Continuous or discrete? Okay, so X represents the number of hours he works. So X is the number of hours that Joe works. So whenever we're talking about time, right, hours and minutes, that means it can be continuous because it's okay. We can have parts of fractions, right? We can have half an hour. We can have 3/4 of an hour. So we're going to use a continuous domain right here. Okay, continuous. And that's going to look like this. Okay, it's going to have the X in the middle with inequalities. And you're going to have your lowest number on the left and your highest number on the right. Okay, so you could call that your minimum number. And then over here, that would be your maximum number. Going back to the question, we know that our maximum number is 9 hours. So let's set up our domain, right? D for domain. We're going to have X in the middle with our inequalities. And then I'm going to put 2 blanks right here. 1, 2. Because this is our minimum. And this is our maximum. Right there, it tells us the maximum is only 9 hours per day. So we got 9 right here. And the minimum, well, the minimum most of the time is 0. So looking at our answer choices, right off the bat, you could have eliminated the first and the second choice because those are discrete domains, and then we needed a continuous domain with inequalities. So the only answer choice that matches perfectly is C. All right, one last problem that I'm going to help you guys with, and then you'll have half your homework done. Okay, the Magic Club is selling t-shirts for a fundraiser, and they received a $100 donation, and they're selling each shirt for $10. The amount of money they earn, Y, depends on the amount of shirts sold, X. This can be represented by the linear function y equals 100 plus 10x. If their goal is to sell 15 shirts on the first day, what is the range for that day? All right, let's go back and circle, box, or underline our important information. Right here we have our equation, y equals 100 plus 10x. I recommend always rewrite it nice and big in your own handwriting. Some other important information. We always want to know what x represents. And in this case, let me use a yellow highlighter. X represents the amount of shirts sold. Okay, X is the amount of shirts sold. So since X represents the amount of shirts that we sell, ask yourself that question. Can the amount of shirts that we sell be split up into fractions or decimals? Is somebody going to buy half of a t-shirt? No, right? So that means that since this has to be whole numbers of t-shirts only, this is going to be discrete. Okay? And discrete is a list of numbers. Now, what is it that they're asking us for, the domain or the range? Always usually in the last sentence, right there. They want the range. So going back up to our notes, discrete, right? There we are. Discrete is whole numbers. And the range is going to look like this. Numbers with commas. What can we automatically eliminate? We can eliminate the second choice and the fourth choice because those have inequalities. And we know that our range is going to be numbers with commas. The next thing you want to do is graph that equation. So let's go back. Our equation is right here. Y equals 100 plus 10x. And you're going to go to y equals, clear out that previous one, and let's just type 100 plus 10x. There we go. And then hit second graph. Okay, so their goal is to sell 15 shirts on the first day. So if you start with 0 shirts, right, then they're still making $100. Why? Because they received a $100 donation. So if we go all the way down to 15 shirts, the range goes up to 250. So there's our answer, the third one. That was the range. Now the domain would have been from 0 to 15 because the domain is your x values. And that's it, guys. So hopefully you all feel more confident doing the last 3 problems of today's homework. And we always appreciate you all logging into Zoom, coming every day during distance learning. And we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Have a good night.